So I don't feel American anymore. At the same time, I'm not Austrian, I'm not Jordanian, I'm not Japanese, and I'm not Welsh. So what am I? My last video, I talked primarily about third culture and what some of the characteristics that I feel that being third culture means and what it feels like. But today I want to talk about the topic that I left off on purpose, and that is the nowhere man, the person who doesn't quite fit in anywhere, who has a fantastic mindset of maybe global citizenship, but yet when it comes to national citizenships and being in national places, having a difficult time fitting in. So today I want to talk about what that means to me and some of the things that I notice with being the nowhere man, and what I've kind of recognized. The first thing is I didn't feel this way really until I moved back to the US. And I kind of define this as it's like an uncanny valley that I feel about being in the US. And what I say that is I know the culture here, I know the billboards and the restaurants and the signs and some of the cultural cues, but things just seem a little bit off. And I don't quite feel American, and I'm able to, regardless of if I want to or not, I kind of pick holes in some of the things that I see. I'll give you some examples. I said in my last video talking about like commercials and advertisements and how I feel bombarded with it. When I bring this up to people, some people say, yeah, I recognize that. But at the same time, they kind of get on about their business and don't really give any second thought. When I watch TV with friends or watch football with friends, the commercials are so stupid. They're so stupid. And I think to myself, are we really that dumb? And everybody just kind of, hey, that was a funny commercial, or it's like background noise. And those things bother me so bad. It's really easy to pick holes in my own culture. Now that I've been abroad, when I see that things are different, when I see that there's different mindsets and different ways of looking at it, it's almost ruined my experience of being back home. As I said earlier in a past video talking about healthcare, I've heard so many times from so many Americans that we have the best healthcare in the world. And while that may be true on certain major diseases or whatnot, but the cost is outrageous. And people say, yes, it's outrageous, but then they go about their business. And as if this is normal. And I guess if you've never been somewhere else, if you've never lived in another system, it is normal. But this is a struggle, that uncanny feeling of being back in your home country. After you've lived abroad for so long, you've seen so many different ways, so many different things, ways to perceive things. And it kind of ruins you when you go back. And that's kind of where I feel right now. It's really challenging. So that's like kind of the first observation that I've noticed about being the nowhere person, the nowhere man. A second thing that I see in particularly is on the flip side of that, as the nowhere man, as being that third culture person, when you are in foreign countries, you are exactly that, foreign. And while my brain kind of got used to it and I was okay with it, there's still certain times where I know instantly that I'm foreign. I'll give you, for example, you can learn a language. When I was in Austria, I learned German. I studied it really hard. In fact, before my wife, I had a German girlfriend, or Austrian girlfriend, sorry. And I would always try to speak German with people, but as soon as they heard my German accent, directly to English, the American. And I'd be like, hey, practice with me, help me, and go back to English. When I was in Japan, obviously I looked different and I stood out, and I was always, the foreigner. And I think the closest that I probably felt to assimilating into a culture, and that's primarily because I'm married into it, and that's the Welsh culture in the UK. But always, I was known as the American. The American. I say certain words. They hear my accent, the American. I was never really assimilated directly into the culture. And while I'm okay with that, it just lets you know that you are foreign. I think another thing that I do feel as being that nowhere man is that it's kind of taxing on your brain. And what I mean by that is I feel like I have a couple operating systems that are operating in the background of my brain, kind of like a phone running multiple operating systems. When I come home, I constantly checking myself about the things that I say. I'll give you an example. The other day I said the word advert, and everyone looked at me like, what are you talking about? Advert in the UK is advertisement, but here people were so confused. And I'm constantly checking myself, because when you are abroad, you pick up different slangs and different sayings, and over time you forget which is which. So I'm constantly checking myself. When I was in the UK, I would say things like aluminum, and people would be like, it's aluminium, mate, it's aluminium. And it got so annoying after a while that I switched the way that I said things. I would start speaking like they did, aluminium. I called soccer football, just because I wasn't trying to sound cool, but I was trying to fit in, because I was getting really sick and tired of people laughing at me for the way that I spoke. And that's how I feel since I've been back, is this dual operating system in my brain. I've got almost like different accents based off of the different circumstances in which I find myself. And that's really strange. I didn't really notice that until I got back here. Just how I have to be careful of what I say and the words that I use, because it gets attention. And a lot of times people think that you're trying to be cute or trying to be pretentious. It's, oh, James is cultured. He's been here, he's been there. Not really. I mean, I've been to places, but I'm not trying to be cute. It's just I'm confused and about what I have to say. And I know that takes time with adjusting and being back. But man, it's been hard. It's been quite the transition. And I think the final bit I want to say about the nowhere person is I find myself most comfortable when I'm around people like me. I find that other nowhere people or other third culture people or other foreigners, I have so much in common with, and I feel at ease. That dual processing I talked about, I don't necessarily, I know I'm not going to be judged or made fun of or laughed. I feel really comfortable. And I'll give you an example of just moving here in California. Our best friends were not born in this country. We quickly related to them. We became really, really good friends. I mean, they're US citizens now, but they weren't born here. And they see things the way that I do. And I think that when we say no, when I say that there is, there's people without homes, these third culture people, really the home becomes people. My family, the friendship groups of other like-minded people. I call it the global tribe, and that's for me. I can't speak for you, but for me, that's where I find comfort. And I really find a lot of identification within those communities. So let me know what you think. Are you a nowhere person? Are you a nowhere man, nowhere woman? Do my points resonate? Am I alone in this? Am I crazy? Let me know. Please like and subscribe, and feel free to comment. Let's continue to grow this community of people who are like-minded, and people who are thinking about moving abroad and are questioning, hey, am I ready for this lifestyle and this mindset that could happen. It's not guaranteed. So just a little China update. Things are a bit slow at the moment. I'm trying to work through some documentation, some paperwork. I have to get things apostilled, like my wedding certificate, my daughter's consular birth abroad document, as well as an FBI background check. So we're just waiting on that. It's really like the long haul, but in about 6 weeks, we think things are really going to start to pick up.